Have you watched my previous video, Business Analysis Day 1? If you haven't, you may want to check it out as well. Today, I am in my day 2. So I've done a couple of days as a new business analyst in this organization. I've done some research. I found some knowledge-based artifacts. I met with a few business analysts that pointed me to more information. I've met with a project manager who gave me a little bit of a background information about the project. So I have done a lot of research and I feel I know a little bit more. Today, I am preparing for the first meeting with my business stakeholder. It could be my sponsor of the company, or it could be a subject matter expert. For me to go into that meeting, I'd like to have a little bit of preparation done so that research helps. I'm making some notes. I'm planning a few open-ended questions that I'm going to ask. And I'm really open to absorb information and also to get to know the person. So I want to go with a friendly set of mind. I want to just meet them, understand them better. I want to get a feel of their ways of communicating, because likely I will be working with this person for a really long time. So first impressions count. And also my ability to get information from that person will also be crucial. So I have a few things prepared and I'm ready to go. In the meeting, I will be listening a lot. I will be asking a lot of open-ended questions. I will be asking for clarifications if there is a term or a concept I don't understand. And at all possible opportunities, I would ask a business expert to share more information with me. For example, if they show me a diagram, I'll ask for a link. If they show me a list of products, I will be checking where can I find a full list or a catalog. If they're talking about business process, I might ask, is there some process documentation already that I can reference? So wherever I go, I'm trying to capture my references. I'm trying to learn about more sources of information, because likely I will have to go back to those sources throughout the analysis. And remember, most of the time, if these resources exist, for example, if certain documentation exists, you probably want to extract as much as possible from there and then validate with your expert. Because if you keep asking your busy business person the question that are very easy to find, say in process documentation, they may get a little bit annoyed with you because you're taking up their valuable time. Someone will say, well, I already spent a lot of time writing the standard operating procedures. Why don't you go and read them before asking me? So always balance asking questions with doing research and coming prepared. So I had my first meeting. It was pretty successful. I made lots of notes. And the person I was talking to was really nice and was really helpful and actually sent me an email with more links. What I'm going to do now is, of course, I'll process this information. I'll start capturing it, and I might even start doing my first diagrams. If I started a mind map on my day 1, I may be adding to it different concepts related to this business problem, to this project. For example, who is involved? What are the main processes? What are the terms? What are the problems? What is the product and services impacted? What are the customer groups that are impacted? Different types of notifications, different components of the existing solution, etc. So anything I heard about, I'll try to capture it in some way. What happens next? A project manager just stops by and asks me, so how are you doing? Let me know, how did the meeting go? If they didn't come to the meeting with you, they probably want to know how it went, whether you got along, because a PM also wants to make sure that that relationship is developing. And they might ask you, okay, we're preparing for a kickoff. Tell me, what else do you need to do in the meantime? Can I help you? How do you need to prepare for requirements analysis, or even what is your plan? That is another scary moment for a new business analyst. How can you have a business analysis plan? You don't know what to do yet. So you can't complete your plan yet, but you can start your planning. And planning goes back to you considering different components of the business problem, different areas you will need to analyze, different groups of people you may need to speak with, different types of research and analysis you need to do. So your discovery that you already started, it will give you more information to plan your further activities. At this point, you may start thinking of what types of requirements, meetings, or workshops or sessions you might need to hold, and so on. So we'll tackle business analysis planning in separate video. But for now, as we are talking about my day as a business analyst, I am making some notes. Perhaps I even started a spreadsheet where I am listing a few of my tasks and I'm thinking what else I might need to do for each. I continue with research because I have been provided with more links. I may be also booking additional meetups or maybe quick conversations with other experts if I have pointed questions. The other thing I might do here is if there was any business analyst that worked on this project before, perhaps just during feasibility, I definitely want to talk to them. They may have created documentation or not. They may have created high-level documentation, but there may be more knowledge in their head. So it's always good to get to know them and ask them for basically for knowledge transfer, for advice, for tips, what was challenging, what do they think you should address. So definitely if you have another business analyst to go to, ask them. Sometimes what happens in large organizations is that a senior business analyst will be involved a lot in various feasibility studies and preliminary assessments for large projects, will support this initial more strategic analysis or even business architecture work. And after the projects are approved and they go into the project pipeline, then they get reassigned to other business analysts. So with this system, you always want to go and find that business architect or senior business analyst that was part of initial analysis and talk to them. So I'm lucky. There is such a person. I definitely am meeting with them, and I know I'm going to meet with them a few times. I'm inviting them for a coffee because it's always a little bit easier to get to know someone over a coffee, and I'm going to pay for that, and I'm going to just ask them for advice, for tips, and for additional information that they can provide. Perhaps they can suggest another avenue of analysis for which they didn't have time because the time was very limited. But now that I'm assigned, I can spend more time. They can mention to me a process where there's a lot of challenges happening today. They can mention a system where there were some recent defects that might be actually contributing to this problem. And I know in real life, when I was a senior analyst, if I was doing part of this cost-benefit analysis and feasibility, I was always really interested in helping whoever was taking over from me get off to a good start because, of course, I don't want it to fail. After all, I did help to promote this project and get it approved for initial work, and I don't want it to fail. So that's most of my day 2. A couple of other things I'm going to be doing is I will figure out where is the information shared. So that definitely my project manager or Scrum Master or whoever is leading the effort is my source of information. Is there a SharePoint site created for this project or a team site or Slack? How do we manage project documentation and artifacts, and how do we share information on this project? If nothing was created, it maybe I'll initiate it. If it's created, I definitely want to get access, figure out what is what, and make sure that I start saving my information and artifacts in a shared folder so that anybody else can reference it, and so that if someone provides me with information, I don't put it just on my own drive. I put it in a shared area and it's visible to other team members. At this point, probably I'm meeting with other team members as well. It really depends on how much of the project team has been assembled at the beginning of the project or not yet. Sometimes business analysts may be starting a little bit ahead of others. If the project team is already defined, you're meeting others. Perhaps there is a design lead or architect, perhaps there is a QA lead, if they have been assigned, get to know them. If they haven't been assigned, if you're mostly working with project manager and your business stakeholders, that's fine. This is where you start. And finally, one last piece of research that I do want to do early, day 1 or day 2, is make sure I understand accepted methodology for project management or for product development and for business analysis. For example, are there any templates? What are the procedures? What are the rituals we follow? What are the typical meetings? If you follow Scrum framework, making sure I understand the variation of Scrum that is used by this organization. If the project is more in waterfall mode, perhaps because the company is mostly working with third-party vendors. Again, what are the typical milestones, processes, and business analysis templates used? If there is a business analysis team and it has some established processes, definitely get to know them, reuse those templates. You don't want to invent anything if there is a standard document or standard types of diagrams already exist. If you're looking for a template and it doesn't exist, then figure out the best way. Either you create it or you work with someone else, but make sure that you right away, you try to follow standard business analysis processes. If you're lucky and you work for a company that has an established business analysis center of excellence, then most of this would exist, and make sure you know what's available, explore it, and then start to use it. That's the end of our day 2, and I'll talk to you again in day 3 video.